Hello, it's Rebecca from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm creating a layout for Mixed Media Frenzy. And this week we are creating layouts using this sketch. So there's lots of mixed media in the background and lots of circular elements. So I've chosen to stick quite closely to the sketch in that I've got 3 round photos, and I'm bringing in some fussy cut baubles for more circular elements. And for my mixed media background I'm using acrylic paints. So I've got a gold metallic one here, and as you can see I'm just simply putting dots of paint onto my background and swiping through it with a plastic spatula. I turn my page sideways to do that, I find that easier to get straight lines, otherwise I don't swipe very straight if I do it sideways. And then I'm repeating the process with the black. As you can see, that looks like a mess at the moment. It is far from perfect, but that's kind of the idea of mixed media, isn't it? You have fun with it, have a play, and most of this will be covered up with my photos and embellishments anyway, so it doesn't have to look perfect. So I've done my acrylic paint, and then I'm just coming in, watering down a bit of the paint, and I'm going to add some paint splatters on top in both of the colours. And then I will let that dry off. So quite a simple mixed media background. It wasn't difficult to create at all, but looks like a bit more work has probably gone into it than actually has once my layout is finished. So I didn't use any gesso on my background at all, because I've not really added any water to the page. I've used the acrylic paints dry as they are. I didn't feel the need for gesso. So now the mixed media is dry, I'm just working on my placement. I want to get an even distribution of the reds and greens. And I'm also going to bring in some raw chipboard elements here. So like you saw on the sketch, there were quite a few circles on the background. So I've got these chipboard wreaths that have stars on them. And I've also got some smaller ones that have words in the middle. So I'm just scattering them around my page. And at this point I decided I wanted to do a bit more work on my background. So I'm using a black Stays On ink and a stamp from Kaisercraft, and just randomly stamping some crosshatches on my background. And I've also got a Tim Holtz stencil here, and I'm pushing some white texture paste through that. The sketch actually has some circles on the background, so this worked really well, and I hadn't even thought about that at the point of doing it. It was only after I noticed the circles on the sketch. I love that texture paste because once it's dry, it dries white, so you can still see it on top of your mixed media. It doesn't get lost on your background. So again, I'm just playing around with the placement of my elements, trying to decide where to put things. I haven't stuck anything down yet. I do faff for quite some time trying to get this to a point that I'm happy with it. And I think I'm just about happy now, but I just want to get my title in and any other little embellishments I want to add before I commit to sticking anything down. So my title here, I'm using these puffy stickers. They're foam stickers from Simple Stories Jingle All The Way collection. I've added a sprig of holly and a couple of bells, purely because the garland in the photos that goes down our staircase at Christmas has got some fairy lights, some tinsel, some baubles, some bells. It's got pine cones, it's got everything on it. So I thought those little bell stickers worked well. And now I'm happy. I'm going to commit to sticking everything down. The chipboard pieces do take quite a bit to get them to stick, purely because there's mixed media on the background. I probably should have used my glossy accents, but instead I've used PVA glue. So I just had to apply a bit of pressure just to get those to stick. So I've stuck pretty much all of the fussy cut baubles down flat, and they were fussy cut from an Echo Park patterned paper. and they've gone down flat, but my photos I'm going to raise up on foam pads because I do like to have a lot of dimension to my layouts. I very rarely have a completely flat layout, and I don't think I ever stick my photos down flat. They are always raised up on foam because I want them to pop off from the background, and I want them to be noticed, because after all, scrapbooking is about your photos and your memories, so I don't want my photos to get lost in the background. So they are raised up on foam, and everything else is going to be stuck down flat around them. So there's just a couple of baubles that they fall kind of where I put those chipboard wreaths, so I've had to pop those up onto foam pads as well, just so that they can sit on top of the chipboard. And then I've got this lovely gold thread by We Are Memory Keepers. I'm running really low on it, so I'm down to using my bobbin now, but I just want to add a couple of gold thread clusters in just for another texture on my page, and it just adds a lot more interest. So that's pretty much everything stuck down now, and I'm just going to add a few more elements. I've got a string of lights here, kind of like a banner from, again, the Jingle All the Way collection, and that's from the chipboard sheet. I'm going to stick that under my title, and that just brings a bit more of the red and green in, and it extends my layout across the page a little bit more. And then from the centre of one of the wreath chipboards I've got these stars, so I've just scattered a few of those around my layout. And it was at this point that I decided I wanted to paint my chipboard pieces. So I've got a Cosmic Shimmer iridescent watercolour paint here in red, and I love these paints, they are so shimmery. So I'm going to stick all the stars down with glossy accents and then paint them all red. And that just adds a few more kind of splots of red across my layout. So I prefer to paint them on my layout because then I haven't got to handle them and try and pick them up and rub the paint off. They're already stuck, so they're really easy to paint. And then once I've painted the stars, I decided actually it doesn't look right now having raw chipboard on my page. So I go around and paint the two larger wreaths with the stars. They both get painted red, and some of the circular word chipboards get painted red. And then there's a couple left that I paint green just to bring a bit more green in, and I use a Lindy's Starburst spray for that, and I just spray a bit onto the packaging and just with a paintbrush paint it onto the chipboard. And then once I've done that, I turn my camera off and then decide the left hand side of the page needed something on it. So I just tear a strip of patterned paper from the Jingle All the Way collection, and I just stick a strip of paper down the left hand side there to just extend the layout over and finish it. And that is me done. So thank you very much for joining me. Please do check out the links in the description box below to all the other ladies' videos. Pop over to their channels and have a look at their layouts. They're all working from the same sketch, and it'd be great for you to join those two and subscribe to their channels whilst you're there. So thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.